Welcome to another Masters of Marketing. I'm Bryan Colligan. Today I am here with Ross Gates and Jody.
Great to
Hello,
be here.
hello. Awesome.
Hello.
So today we have an interesting presentation. It is based upon one of my good friends' posts. He does this every once in a while. He basically goes up and posts a bunch of different data hacks and tips and tricks. His name is Kumar. That's not his real name, but I'm not going to tell you his real name. But let's just call him Kumar. He goes by Twitter. He goes Data Raid. And every couple months he posts this thing. He's like one of the preeminent growth hackers in the space. He goes, reply to this tweet. Oh, am I not sharing my screen? I'm not sharing my screen. That's going to be very important to this episode. To the show. All right. Do you see this?
I do. I see tons of Sublime text.
Oh no, that's the wrong screen. Those are my notes.
Right, because we're not actually being sponsored by Sublime Text.
No. All right, so we'll share again. We got Mr. Michael. Mr. Michael, welcome, Mr. Michael. Okay, so this is my good friend Kumar, and he goes by Data Raid on Twitter. And every couple months, he does this thing on Twitter where he goes and says, reply to this tweet and with your link to your venture or your company, and in 180 seconds, I'll tweet back a non-obviated cheap approach to growing it. So he's a really good guy. He's super duper smart. He can really understand the priority end of the business in a very, very short amount of time. And really what he's distilling out of all of this is the idea of intent. And what I mean by that is that, like, when you're doing a hack, when you're going to growth recipe, a growth trick, a tip, a hack, right? What you're really trying to do is identify search intent, relevant intent before anybody else can search that intent. And I have a quote here. Intent on the user's perspective is a goal-oriented pursuit. And our job is about understanding what their goal-oriented pursuit is. That's it. So this is about the intent, right? Okay, so let's dive into some of his questions or his recipes. There's one in particular I thought was pretty good. It had to do something with spy foo or maybe it was on another one. So he does this every couple months. So I liked one of his recipes. We're gonna tear apart one of his recipes and then we're gonna go over something else real quick. Got it, this one. This is the one. Semantic 3, Scraping Monster, and SpyFu API, ad spend API. Okay, so it doesn't really matter what the company is. I think it was like a branded agency. So like help you run brand campaigns better with a little bit of technology, but really what they're kind of like a generic ad agency company. And then how do you identify where the intent is or how you can add value to ongoing processes? So if I wanted to buy ads better, he's saying that if you want to find the people who want to buy ads better, you could look at Semantic 3, Scraping Monster, and SpyFu ad send. So let's break that down, what that means, because it's probably all garbage and gibberish. So the Scraping Monster, right, which is this app like Crawly, is essentially will take the data, the HTML, the images, and everything, all the data off of a page and turn it into an API, which you can download. Okay, so that means like I could take any page, turn it into an API, call that API for that page, it returns me the data. This is really good in understanding kind of like what customers do. But like if you get a whole bunch of data in a page, you can't really like do anything with that. So let's go to like a random, we're gonna go Coca-Cola. Okay, let's say you wanted to work with Coca-Cola. Like, what does it tell you about it? It tells you nothing, right? So if you wanted to go work with Coca-Cola or like understand what they're doing and you just go to the US one, Coca-Cola wants to give. Oh, that's cool, right? So give, it partners with key causes on a year-round basis. Here's some causes. Awesome. So, the brand doesn't even tell you about their drink. Really, like it says a little bit about refreshment. It doesn't tell you like what they are, what they're going with their brand and their website. is talking about their giving causes. Like, this is all random off the top, so I don't know if this is going to work or not. So you can understand, like, by looking at it, that they give. But what if you wanted to do that at scale and not just do Coca-Cola, but every single drink product in the world, and scrape and crawl that, and then really understand kind of what they're about? Well, you can derive that Coca-Cola.com, which is, and you can just look at like the top 1,000 or the top 2,500 companies, public companies, are really about giving. But you can't do that at scale. You can do it one-on-one with your eyeballs. And that's where the next piece of the technology comes in, Semantic 3. Cool. So Semantic 3 is a piece of technology that allows you to take the data from the crawly, right, and start to pump the entire page into a semantic search. Let me see if I can find one of the outputs. So let's talk about logistics and brands. What it does is it does a couple different things. So anytime you get words like this from a very kind of like feeling nature, like it feels good, it's very qualitative, it's about brand, it's about telling a story, it has keywords in here, key causes, right? So give is huge, causes. Now if you relate to give causes, that's basically what they do. And so what semantic search technology does is it starts to rip apart a big stack of words, and it'll start to sort rank the uniqueness of the words on the page, and then basically tell you that Coca-Cola intent is to give to causes, right? And so if you run it through one of these engines, it'll use that as a structure code, so a structured keyword, and it'll relate the words into that. So essentially, what you can do is start to crawl the internet at scale. Once you crawl the internet at scale using this web crawler, Crawly, or you can build your own crawler and parser or hire somebody to do it. We've done that in the past for other people. You can do things like trend spotting, price monitoring, market share, product catalog. They're talking very, very actionable, but you can also use this technology to derive the intent of a brand out of the page. Okay, cool. So now that we know that Coca-Cola likes to give to causes, we've crawled 5,000 companies at scale, because we could just find all the public companies, the top 5,000, S&P 5,000 or whatever the 5,000 index is. You can get the website from there. You can run it through the crawler. You can take that data, you can put it into the Semantic 3 trend spotting analysis, and it'll spit out the top categories of things that the brand, subjects that the brands have the intent for. Cool. So we know the intent, and we know Scraping Monster, and then let's add the third part into it, Spy Food Ad Spend API. So this is really cool. And I did a lot of interesting research over the weekend over Spy Food. You know, it's super interesting and cool. And the guy who founded the company basically is now, I'm going to try to get him on speaking on this show. He basically was like, hey, if you need Spy Food during quarantine for free, great, we'll give it to you for free. It's normally like $50 a month, $100 a month. Really cool guy that just was like, hey, we'll give it to you for free. So we're going to stick with Coca-Cola.com. Let's make sure that we're going to understand where they are pushing their ads. Cool. All right, what Spy Food then does is look, okay, it shows you the competitors. Uh-oh, we got a chat here. Ross, can you handle the chat? Cool, got the document for sharing. Awesome, thank you, Jody, for the document for sharing. All right, so let's take a look at Coca-Cola Spy Food. And it looks like they do 0 paid, and it's 100% organic. And they basically get 3.3 million clicks per month, and they don't do really any paid ads. So what I can see here, or I can tell here, is that if I'm an advertising agency, right, and I know, and I may have a giving product or want to expand a brand through giving to causes, because that's kind of like what they do from their brand. And I wanted to work with Coca-Cola. Well, guess what? They don't spend any AdWords campaigns. They're not doing paid campaigns. They're doing organic. And so if my service is a paid campaign service, I'm not gonna attack them, right? I'm not gonna go after them because essentially it doesn't really make any sense. But using something like Spy Fu, I can go and say, oh, wait a second, Red Bull is paying for it, right? So I actually shouldn't work on a paid campaign as a paid campaign agency and go work with Coca-Cola. I should go work with Red Bull, because Red Bull is spending estimated monthly clicks about $4,000 per month, which isn't very large, by the way, for a company like Red Bull. So I haven't gone through this example before, but you can kind of start to see what they actually care about. They care about, they themselves start to care about unlocking intent, right? Once again, they're going after, in AdWords, they're going after energy drinks, people that are already searching for energy drink manufacturers, energy drink, private label energy drinks, wholesale energy drinks. People have the pursuit in the goal, and they're actively intending on pursuing an energy drink. Red Bull wants to be seen there. So this was kind of a bad example, but it also told us what not to do, right? It also told us not to do paid campaigns for Coca-Cola if I had an ad optimization. If I was saying that, we had a testing kit where you can test paid campaigns for your causes or paid campaigns for your company easily, I think maybe Coca-Cola would be a good example, where if I had an ad optimization product going after Red Bull, who's already spending $4,000 a month, which is not a lot of money for them, we could go after them. And I would use an ad like Spy Fu or a tool like Spy Fu to basically go through that and then understand who are my potential clients for my ad optimizations company.
I have two questions.
Yes, sir.
One is, can we show Keurig? One of our what's called participants said that they're curious. I guess they might have a lot of ads running. The second is, once you use this to find out who's paying for ads, you had talked about semantic search at the beginning. Mm-hmm. How is scraping the page in semantic search, how does that help you scale? Because you're saying if you know what their intent is, you can write them a note about what their intent is. Mm-hmm. How do you do that at scale that makes it easier than just looking at the website and figuring out what their intent is in half a second?
Oh, because it tells you, right? When you put it into a semantic analysis and you pull the data out, it's going to tell you in rank for each individual company, like what the public facing brand is putting out there in the world, more of what they want to do. So Coca-Cola wants to give more to good causes, right?
And you're saying Coca-Cola is a bad example because it was so obvious what they were doing.
No, I say Coca-Cola is a bad example because I started with an advertising optimization company, but Coca-Cola doesn't spend any ads.
Right. But for the semantic analysis, is it a bad example because it's really easy to see what they're doing? But if you go to a brand that's got more pages and has more content, it'd be harder to skim it and know in the first 5 seconds what they're doing. And that's where the semantic analysis saves you time and is really important.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
It's about doing it at scale, right?
Right.
It's like, so you might take you a week and things change, right? So if you're only time, if you had somebody full-time, like on this, they couldn't do as much as semantic analysis could do across the 5,000 top companies in the United States, public companies in the United States. It doesn't matter what the niche is or what you're going after. It's like, whenever you have to do it at scale, people are going to be better as individuals. If there's like 5 targets, don't do this, right? If there's 5,000 targets, like you either have to hire a whole team to do research analysis of pages to understand what a brand is looking to do, or you have to use tools at scale. Like that's the only 2 ways to do it.
Got it. What do we learn about Keurig?
Oh, I didn't look at Keurig yet.
Apparently, they spend $75,000 a month.
Yeah, let's see what SpyFu says. Yep, 73,070 cents per month. So what are they intending? Let's go over there. What they take their own. They do K cups coffee, Keurig pods, coffee maker, right? So it's not showing us the rest of the results are, but what they're basically doing is brand coverage. So they're trying to butt out competition. It looks like.
And they're paying a lot to do it. I always feel bad when I type in someone's actual brand name and then I click the ad instead of their website.
Yeah.
Paying 60 cents for me to click their ad instead of the website every single time. It's a lot of money.
Yeah, it is. I mean, this is cool. There's a big argument on whether you go after branded keywords or not. Like, are you okay with your competitor spending money on your keywords? I mean, honestly, I would be, right? If I'm a brand, I'm not going after brand protection. This is an arguable thing. I would say I would go after SEO, write the content. People are looking for me. They're intending for me. If a competitor is looking to pay to try to steal away that intention, I think it's very difficult. I think people know what they're looking for if they're searching for a brand. It's just my opinion. And so having a better SEO aspect. The problem is though, like you have to do 5 or 6 scrolls. The counter argument is you have to do 5 or 6 scrolls to get to the first organic result. And that can be very difficult to scroll to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Cool. What's the next topic? Also, we have someone in the chat that just says that Facebook pays $1.11 million a month to advertise Facebook, which seems silly because they own the advertising platform.
Sort of, but let's look at what they're buying. So you can see here that they're going after new product markets, right? Like they're going after the keyword workplace, right? They're going after fundraising. They're going after GoFundMe. So basically, they are directly trying to steal the traffic of individuals that are going to one of their competitors of one of their products, which is a giving product on their platform. So it makes total sense what they're doing and why they're spending so much money. It's a good portion of it. It's not a huge amount of it, but looks like they're going after a direct competitor, and they're trying to buy their way and trying to buy out their competition GoFundMe. I think it would make more sense to just buy them, right? They have the money. Why are they trying to compete on a product and give money to Google to compete themselves out? Doesn't really make a lot of sense to me, but maybe GoFundMe doesn't want to sell, or maybe they approach GoFundMe, but they are a product first company, and sometimes they build product because they have like thousands of engineers and they got to do something, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
interesting.
All right, so let's talk a little bit more about semantics and sentiment analysis. This is a great article. I will post this in the chat. We can add it to the doc. It's 10 sentiment analysis APIs, Microsoft Alien. Alien's one I've used before. It's great. Like it's a tremendous product. Like when I say tremendous, I mean it's like tremendous. This is a German company. It's not crazy expensive. It's one of the cheapest actually, but like it gives you like 100,000 pages to do semantic analysis on for like $100 a month. Like,
what does that mean? 100,000 pages across the internet you can access for $100 a month?
You can run the semantic analysis script, break it out into the JSON and the categorizations of what the different competitors care about. And then you can understand at scale 100,000 pages a month for like $100. It's awesome.
That is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
The thing I'm trying to hone in on is you say what those 100,000 pages are,
yes.
or they track the top 100,000. Got it.
You say what 100,000 pages are, and then they'll run it through their semantic processor and spit you out the categorization, the semantic analysis, the sentiment analysis, which is also cool. Like, is it a positive spin on the page? Is it a negative spin on the page? As well as the categorization, the lemmas. It's like when in natural language processing, the lemma is the base of the word. So what's the most common keyword? What's the most common base of the words? And from there, you can analyze 100,000 pages on the internet every single month for $100. And then you can really start to stack rank people in terms of marketing, in terms of like direct hacking and hacking intent. You can understand the more that a company is talking about a particular topic, maybe giving causes. I think if I had a cause giving platform, I might approach somebody at Coca-Cola, because they're telling you right on at the first page exactly what they're about. They're about giving causes, because that's part of their brand strategy. And if your product aligns with their brand strategy, you've just unlocked that intent, right? You're not going out generating demand, educating Coca-Cola about what they already want to do. They're telling you what they want to do. The brands are telling you what exactly that they want to do. And you just have to align with their intent.
The thing I find crazy is, so you can scrape 100,000 a month. How often do these companies actually change? And do you think you need to scrape them every month, or do you just need
Monthly,
to scrape
yeah,
them once?
of course. How often is our website changing? Every single month.
Often. So then my second question is,
Yeah.
how do you get 100,000 URLs that you want to scrape quickly without having someone think of every company they could possibly scrape and write them down?
Well, we do that for people, but yeah, that's a good question. Um, I, I need a more concrete like question, and I'll tell you how I would approach it, because I don't know, like I need to be a little bit more gore. Lumascape is good for industry. Like, have you ever heard of Lumascape?
No.
Right. So you're gonna have to figure out your intended kind of like
The
market.
industry that you're going after.
Yeah, and like you kind of like, are you serving Fortune 500 brands? Are you serving like who are you serving? Like, who's your ideal customer profile? Who's your clients that you have now? And when you get into one of these type of deals, let me see if I can download it. This is a breakdown of display, right? Here's on the publisher side, here's on the marketer side, here's ad servers, here's verification privacy, here's measure analytics, data suppliers, DMPs, data aggregators, ad exchanges, ad networks, right? So there's, depending upon who your target market is, if you're display ad ecosystem, cool. If it's agencies themselves, boom. Agencies and trading desks, like it's broken down to, you can start to talk, look at who the top players are in each different kind of MarTech category. You know, if you're a food product, like there's stuff in the food industry. There's these landscapes, and Lumascape is one of the most popular one of these landscapes that go through and show here's the layout of all the different companies in a particular market that do a particular thing.
Gotcha. So you use
Yeah.
something like this, or you use another sorting algorithm to find everyone in your industry, and then you scrape all their home pages and then stack rank it somehow.
Yeah.
And you go broad with 100,000, and then you can narrow it in afterward.
Yeah.
How much time do you think it takes to set up this entire funnel?
Oh, wow.
Like,
I mean,
find the companies, scrape them, do sentiment analysis, take a next step.
Yeah, see, what you're doing is like, first, I would recommend, before you set up this whole entire funnel, is do it manually, right? And what I mean by that is like, go through and do this process manually, meaning like, I'm going to go, I have a thesis, you've kind of found product market fit. What you're doing when you build up this system is that you're setting an inbound pipeline, so that every month after month, you have people that you can go sell to. Like it's not just a one-time crawl. You're going to get a big chunk right at the beginning, but like, I wouldn't do this before you've tested your assumptions about who your ideal customer profile is and what companies are you going after and why you're going to go after them. It takes a while. It'd take a couple weeks, but you pump it out into CSVs, and you'd have to manually like go through it, and then you build more automation to it, and then you just have it cranking out if you use an API like ours, you can start to get the people and the emails of the people of the titles exactly at those companies, and start to do some like email automation there. And then you'd get the data come in, you would diff it against last month, make sure that it's like new fresh data, pump it into a system, and then send out another 100 to 1,000 emails of fresh new leads every single month to start new conversations. It's what marketing automation is supposed to be, right? It's not like this is true marketing automation, not just, hey, you do something and I'm going to send you an email. This is like, I'm going to capture intent. Coca-Cola is now not about giving to causes. Coca-Cola is now about, let's say they're about building water wells in Africa, right? So, which is giving to a cause, but it's very, very specific.
But you'd make your email such that you could actually grab that specific data. Hey, I just saw that your company is switching its focus to fill in the blank. Capturing water wells, is that even possible at scale?
Possible. Everything is possible, but what you're really talking about is the effort. It's a cost optimization of like, is the effort worth the juice that you're squeezing out of that hack with that intent, right?
And I think the answer is yes, if you start a conversation that's timely about something that's just happened. My real question is it human readable, where they'll believe that you actually just came across this thing and you emailed them? Or is it they're like, oh, like I'm receiving some automated update because this sentence isn't even semantically correct?
Right. So this is where like the personification, workflows, causes, like, and then you can make it fuzzy with asking a question, right? Can you introduce me to the person? Hey, I saw that you're working with water wells in Africa. Can you introduce me to the person that works with water wells in Africa? I have a tool that helps build water wells in minutes instead of days, like whatever it is, right? So you're getting down to the ask, and you can make it fuzzy. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm the person that does water wells in Africa, or it's Jimmy over here, or Jane over there, right? Like that's where you can make it not so exact, but and have to be as exactly correct. But people, if they believe in what you're doing, if you approach it with a question that you can help them, if it's something that they care about, if they care about Jimmy or Jane. Now, if they hate Jimmy or Jane, right, they're not making the introduction. If they don't care about the cause of what they're doing, they're not making the introduction. If it wasn't their idea, if their idea was we help homeless people, but they lost out, and there's water wells one, and Coca-Cola doesn't care about homeless people and they care about water wells, and they were like, let's help homeless people. Guess what? They're not forwarding your introduction, right?
Got it.
So
I like it. I like to see how the pieces come together at scale. It's more actionable to say, this is how the entire pipeline would work, then here's these cool technologies, figure them out sometime.
Yeah, I think that would be my one piece of feedback to Kumar, is that I think that's what he's doing. The dude's smart. I think what he's doing out there is saying, hey, here's an example of something that you can do. Now, if you want to execute on it, I can help you execute on it.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. We got a couple minutes left. Do we have any more topics?
I got a ton, but I don't think it's really good to start. I think what I'll leave you with is I would start following this guy, Dave Gerhardt. He used to be VP of marketing at Drift. Every day he posts a really good, challenging topic or comment on LinkedIn, and I recommend following him. And the people that engage in there, also the comments are really good. There's a lot of fanboys that are just like, this dude, not trying to call you out, Mark Metry, but I'm going to call you out, Truth. I mean, come on, can be a little bit more like, yes, I agree with you, and here's why I agree with you, other than like preach on.
There's
brother.
The like button.
Yeah, there's a like button for that, bro. But I like this. I like this comment, but I actually picked this one out because I slightly disagreed. All right, so let's talk about this, and we'll end on this one. Don't use tools as an excuse. You can spend all day researching Patreon, Podio, Substack, WordPress, and HubSpot, and Mercado, blah, 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 marketing automation. But the real truth is you can be successful anywhere. 2 to 3 features won't be the difference in your success. Optimize later, just get started. Okay, this is exactly what I was saying to do about semantic analysis. Like before you build all of the automation and all the tools, like handle the one-on-one. The problem here is this is assuming that people can iterate quickly to product market fit, right? Which is a super hard challenge. Like really, really difficult to iterate to product market fit. And once you can do that, then the marketing automation makes sense. Then testing it makes sense. But you're just experimenting at that time. And the number one thing that I think, that, like Y Combinator calls it, make something that people want. And the thing that I'm calling it today, which is along that same principle, is figure out what their goal-oriented pursuit is and map your ask and your company and your marketing to their intent. And you will be successful. Figure out what function that they're trying to solve, what problem that they're trying to solve, and if you can help them solve it, and you can find a way to help them solve it and understand who's the individual that's trying to solve that problem at that company, then you too will also be successful. And then marketing automation, semantic analysis, generating lead pipelines are rad, and you can do that at scale.
So you got to start with your anthropological research.
Yeah.
Figure out what they want.
Yeah.
And then go automation.
Yeah. Eden last week. That was cool. The cultures, the tips, the tricks, the desires, the traditions, and the types of interactions that people have when they're trying to solve their problems.
I think that's a good place to leave off. Bryan,
Perfect.
This has been an awesome Masters Marketing. I have learned a lot today. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Till next time.